Alright, I have another Wi-Fi battle here, and this is going to be up against Chaosstriker750. Another guy that I found on Twitch, and he wanted to do a UU battle, and this is the battle. I actually am using another UU team that I made myself, and I'm gonna see how it works out. At the time, I wasn't really the best of team builders, so I usually just just made something that I felt might work out and then just try it against people and see how it works out. So yeah, and this is how this battle went down, I mean, whatever. And okay, so I'm gonna lead off with my Lotic, and he is gonna lead off with Dr. Dre, which is the Noivern, and he's gonna instantly switch out the Noivern, anticipating possibly an Ice Beam or something. And he's gonna go into Bob. I go for the Scald though, because I kind of had a feeling he was gonna try to switch out, fearing the Ice Beam. So yeah, and I procced my Flame Orb, which is really good because now I don't have to worry about anything toxicating my Milotic. And this thing is just gonna set up Light Screen, which I'm perfectly fine with, honestly, because I can just stall with my Lotic until the screens go out. And this thing got burned with the second Scald, so now I can just definitely stall it out until all the screens are gone, and it's eventually gonna wither itself down too. So. And Meowstic doesn't carry recovery as far as I'm concerned, so. And here he just goes for the Reflect. That's when, as I switched into Crobat, because I kind of had a feeling he was going to set up the other layer of screens. Here, I wasn't actually hoping it wouldn't carry Thunder Wave, but it did. The reason I send in Crobat, knowing that it can either Psychic me or possibly Thunder Wave me, it was just so I can defog the screens out. And then here, he'd be put in a position where he'd have to set them up again, and I can just U-turn here. Especially now that I have, like, now that I'm slow, basically. And I was very confident this Meowstic was going to be bulky, so I had a feeling I could maybe take a Psychic from it, or Psyshock in this case. I go for the Defog again. I don't know why, though. I really don't know why I went for Defog again, though. The better play right there would have been to go for U-turn to get some damage off, but I didn't go for it. I guess I went for Defog thinking he'd try to set up the screens again, but that's not what happens. And I switch into my Lotic now because I feel like having Crobat for Death Fodder later can be very, very useful. And he goes for Thunder Wave again, and I'm like, nah. I go into my Lotic now, and here I think I just switch back again into what's it called, Mesprit. For the first time, actually, not again. For the first time. He sets up the Light Screen again because I just withered them away with the fog earlier. And now this Meowstic goes down due to the burn. And then he sends out God of Aura. Which here I just go for the Thunder Wave on this thing. Just to... because he sets up Nasty Claws, and I'm like, oh shit, this is a special card, not a physical one. I actually sent this thing in against... actually, I didn't send it in on anything. He just sent in Lucario, and I was just hoping that that it would be a physical one, but it's actually a special one. I go for the Thunder Wave though, and I do go for the Stealth Rocks afterwards, just to avoid losing, just to get the rocks up before I lose Mesprit, but it got paralyzed, so this basically allowed me to preserve Mesprit for later. And I actually am going to U-turn, and here I'm actually going to go into Sylveon, anticipating a possible Dark Pulse. This was risky though because he could have just predicted or not carry Dark Pulse at all and just go for Flash Cannon for damage, but it did carry Dark Pulse, so I was actually able to not take that take the Dark Pulse very well, not take too much damage on my Sylveon. So here I just go for Psyshock. I don't think that crit mattered because the Sylveon I think is Spec, so yeah. And now I go into, or he goes into Darmanitan, which is this Darmanitan. Now, I'm definitely not going to leave my Sylveon in on this Darmanitan, so I'm just going to switch out and go back into Mesprit. I'm going to sack this thing because I don't feel like I need it anymore. I feel I might need Crobat though, I don't know for what. But I felt like I was going to need Crobat, so I decided to sack Mesprit instead, because I feel, looking at the rest of his team, I don't think this thing matches up well with anything, so I figured let's just sack this and then go into an ideal matchup. So here I lose Mesprit. And this Darmanitan is taking more recoil damage due to the investment in defense and HP on my Mesprit. I go into my Lotic though, because I can resist the Flare Blitz, and he's gonna switch out. And I think here he goes into Dr. Dragon, which is the Noivern. And here, I think I, okay, first he takes rocks, and here I just Dragon Tail him because I had a feeling it was going to switch out. So I phase him here, and I actually send him into his Ghost, which is this Trevenant. And I definitely wasn't going to stay in on this because honestly, this is not an ideal matchup. So here's where I actually switch out my Milotic into Crobat. And this was pretty much a more or less a sack because if it went for Shadow Claw, I would have just lost Crobat here. But he went for the Horn Leech, and I was like, oh, okay. Now he's gonna Shadow Claw me, right? And then here, I try to go for the Brave Bird, but it outspeeds me and goes for the Leech Seed, and I was like, ugh. This is a Leech Seeding Trevenant. That's kind of annoying. And this Crobat is actually paralyzed, so I'm like, oh my god, this is not good. But at the same time, it hasn't gone for Shadow Claw yet, so I was thinking maybe he doesn't have Shadow Claw. Maybe that other move is Will-O-Wisp and the other move is probably like Substitute or something. I don't know. But here I go for the Brave Bird again. And he's going to switch out into Sharpedo, which is actually really, really good for me because the Sharpedo takes Stealth Rocks damage. Which means now I can just freaking Brave Bird this thing. And now it's definitely gonna die. I don't have to worry about this thing being sashed. And if it was the Mega, well, now I don't have to worry about it Mega Evolving and crunching everything to oblivion. So Crobat, while paralyzed, did actually put in work. It pressured the Trevenant quite a bit and then took out the Sharpedo, which was probably a big threat on his team, honestly. And now he goes into Noivern, takes more Stealth Rocks damage, and now here's where Crobat goes down, but not without a fight. And he definitely did work, so I go into my Milotic now. Here, I wanted to try out Mirror Coat here, see if he would actually fall for the Mirror Coat, and he actually did. So down goes Noivern. I didn't have Ice Beam on this Milotic. I only had Scald, Mirror Coat, and I think Haze. Oh no, Dragon Tail it was, and Recover. So yeah, I wasn't gonna be able to hit that thing. Then here he goes back into Ghost, and seeing how weakened my Milotic was, I was just going to go for the Skull just to get the burn on this thing. But it does outspeed my Milotic, so I was like, huh? Holy shit, this thing is actually speed invested? Because usually these things are usually bulky, so I don't know. It managed to survive, so... Well, I mean, it managed to outspeed my Milotic and just take it out, so I was like, oh, okay, so no Skull burn, I guess. Now here, I go into Sharpedo, and here I actually make a really dicey play by going for Substitute. Because I actually wanted to see if he would actually go for the Leech Seed. He actually does though, so that's actually really good for me. And I actually I get the speed boost. And now I can just Mega Evolve and go for the Crunch and just possibly, hopefully, KO this Trevenant with a, what's it called? Crunch. And I do take it out with a Crunch if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I take it out with a Crunch. And I'm still behind a Substitute, which is really, really good. Because if this thing were to live, it would just Horn Leech my Substitute and I don't have to worry about it living. And this Darmanitan, I outspeed it with, even if it's Scarfed, so I don't have to worry about anything. My Sharpedo is well protected in this part of the battle, so it's behind a Substitute, has +1, and a lot of his things are weakened, so that's going to be the whole game. Another quick battle that I just wanted to showcase here. Not to mention, this is also another battle where I just win with Sharpedo. And you know that I like winning with Sharpedo. It's really cool. Whether it sweeps or whether it just finishes the game off, I just like winning with Sharpedo. Sharpedo is one of my favorite Pokemon, if not my absolute favorite. In fact, I think it is my absolute favorite. Especially because not a whole lot of people use it. They only use it when they see that it's actually good. But I use it all the time. But anyways, that's going to be a good game to Chaosstriker750. And hopefully everyone enjoyed it, whoever watched and whatnot, and stay tuned for more if you're looking forward to that. So yeah, and take it easy.